From Fugitive to Free Man, written by William Wells Brown. William Wells Brown was born in Lexington, Kentucky. He was the son of Elizabeth, a slave woman and a white relative of his owner. After 20 years in slavery, he escaped to freedom in January 1834. He spent the next 2 years working on a Lake Erie steamboat and running fugitive slaves into Canada. In the summer of 1834, he met and married Elizabeth Spooner, a free black woman. 2 years after his marriage, Brown moved to Buffalo, where he began his career in the abolitionist movement by attending regular meetings of the Western New York Anti-Slavery Society. In 1849, he began a lecture tour of Britain and remained abroad until 1854. When he returned, he wrote Clotel, the first novel published by an African American. During the last 10 years of his life, he continued to travel, lecture, and write. This narrative, From Fugitive to Free Man, introduces the life of William Wells Brown. Exposed and experienced slavery amid remarkably wide-ranging conditions. William worked as a house servant and field slave, and was hired out as an assistant to a tavern keeper, a printer, and the slave trader James Walker, who voyaged extensively. Aided in his flight from Ohio to Canada by the Quaker Wells Brown, William adopted his name as a sign of gratitude and admiration. Brown eventually moved to Boston in 1847, where he began his impressive literary career. In this same year, he published his autobiography, Narrative of William Wells Brown, a Fugitive Slave. Brown's earliest memories are of serving as a house servant, first near Lexington, Kentucky, and then in Missouri. While working as a waiter, Brown pursues a path of self-education, purchasing and reading books, as well as subscribing to an anti-slavery newspaper. Brown's narrative, From Fugitive to Free Man, related what seemed typical of what must belong to the life of almost any fugitive slave. Brown's experience was very representative and informative to those who knew little of realities of slavery. Seeking to voice the emerging literary consciousness of black people in the 19th century, Brown anticipates the social affinities and point of view of Missouri's most famous African American literary figure of the 20th century. The narrative of William Wells Brown typifies in its subject matter and development the basic structure of the antebellum slave narrative. Although in many ways Brown's story may be read as a paradigm of the genre in which he wrote, his manner of telling that story is distinctively his own. Yet in Brown's willingness to focus on himself as a slave trickster and to explore the contradictions between a slave survival ethnic and the dominant morality of his time, the reader discovers in him a striking brand of realism. Thanks for watching.